And remember, don't molest the bears.
Then it cuts to Donald, who has a really funny expression on his face, almost as if he wanted to molest the bears. It's kind of like, wah.
Donald Duck is a character that has been present to all generations and needs no introduction at this point. Since his introduction in 1934, Donald Duck has been present in all kind of things. Cartoons are the one which he mostly appeared. I used to watch pirated YouTube uploads of these, especially the ones with Chip and Dale on it, and even looking back at it as a late teen, it's still funny to watch, but he was still present in shit like comics, which I used to read them as a little shit, toys, mugs, this thing I found. Oh, but also most importantly, video games. Donald Duck has been present in the video game market as long as the first few years of gaming, like Amiga Commodore computers, but also more powerful hardware like the Master System, Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo, which most if not all of them being 2D platformers from that time. But in today's journey we'll be talking about a 3D platformer starting our favorite duck with anger problems, that being Donald Duck Quack Attack, or Going Quackers for my American viewers. This game was released in the glorious year of 2000, and starts our old bastard Donald Duck, and it was released on every single thing to ever be released, except for the Gizmodo, the console where sticky balls came from. Sad. To give you an idea, this game was released in PS1, PS2, Nintendo 64, Nintendo Shitcube, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Dreamcast, PC, and it was even released on mobile phones at one point. The version I'm reviewing today is the PS2 version. I mean, there aren't that much differences between something like the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 1 version outside of the lower quality of the game. I guess there are the handheld versions, but why should I care honestly? Anyways, this game was published by Ubisoft, who are famous for making shit like Rayman and Just Dance. Oh, and Far Cry 2. Map community, as in, minor attracted person. Oh no, does this mean that Ubisoft supports pedophilia? What is this? Pedosoft? I don't think so. As said before, Donald Duck Goin' Fuckers is a 3D platformer of his time, as much as the others at the time, but we won't discover it until we finally play it. Once we get through a bunch of logos, we get a cutscene where Donald Duck and Gladstone Gander are sitting on the couch watching TV, where they are seeing Daisy reporting something, probably some shit that is as important as what's going on in America right now. Nothing, but oh no, Daisies has been captured by an evil magician that I've never heard of before. The only thing I have ever seen this cunt was in the DuckTales movie, where we see him along with an Arab with the Indian accent. You know, maybe might be perhaps one of the members of the Muslim rape gang. Anyways, since Donald cunt saw Daisy's capture on TV, he decides to go out of his way to rescue her. Once the cutscene ends, you get sent into the world hub where you get to grow into each world, although the first time you enter it you can only go through one, in which each time you beat every stage of a world, you unlock a new one. 4 worlds each, by the way, the first world being located in a forest. In what forest? I don't know. When you enter, you get to know what type of game this is. A 3D platformer.
But didn't we knew that already? You told us.
A 3D platformer, as in, a Crash Bandicoot type 3D platformer. Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did ya? Everything about this game just screams, Crash Bandicoot. This becomes apparent from how the game is played, how it's presented, and so on and so forth. But then again, that was kind of the thing of the time for some licensed games. I mean, even Mr. Bean had a Crash-like game on the PS2. But anyways, the controls are very simple, extremely simple in fact. You get run, jump, and punch. Yeah, instead of spinning you punch enemies, who are mostly animals, like skunks and bees.
Hey Mom, the bees are back! It seems like years since it's been here! Oh, here comes the sun! Doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say, it's alright!
Someone call PETA on this. You have 2 hits in this game. but it's not really easy to die easily in this game, since throughout the stages there are present boxes where you can get extra health, and even if at full health you can go full wacky and run faster. I think, even when you get hit, Donald gets pissy and gets a few seconds of invisibility until it goes back to normal. This game really does capture how Donald is in his originals cartoons. Although what about the controls? The game controls like your typical Crash Bandicoot as said before, although playing it comparing to the original Crash trilogy and remakes, the controls feel a little bit floaty. It's not bad per se, but it can be a bit tricky to jump, or for me at least. I think it's more of a thing where you only get it if you play it, because even though jumping barely happens to me, it feels like I'm about to fall off the platform but it didn't. I don't know, it's a weird feeling I have when I play this video game, but the level design itself is super straightforward itself, with your typical 3D and 2D stages. Again, just like Crash Bandicoot, even at one point of the level you face Evil Master Hand from Smash Brothers. Maybe. Can you guess what they are trying to do here? Yeah, instead of a giant rock, it's a floating hand trying to catch him. I mean, to be fair, this was one of the wizard guy's tricks, but we all know damn well they only decided to go from this change so they don't get sued from being too similar from Smash Bandicoot, even though they stole that idea from Indiana Jones, but whatever. Hey, did you know that Sega sued EA because The Simpsons Road Rage was way too similar to Crazy Town? These stages are a real doozy one, since it feels like Mr. Hands goes a bit too fast, so you basically have to keep running constantly while jumping or else he'll damage you. Thankfully these stages aren't too common in the game, so it's not a big deal, but still, once completing a few stages, you get to fight against the first boss of the game, not before a cutscene in each boss by the way, where there's a running joke of Gladstone Gander being there but then falling off the stage but being happy that at least he founded a nickel. Question: is Gladstone Gander supposed to be Jewish? The first boss being a fat yellow chicken that poops out that have little abominations inside of it. This boss is a no-brainer, just punch each chicken the fat faggot poops out and the jumping on him once he gets dizzy after stomping on the floor 3 times. It's a pretty easy boss to defeat, because it's the first boss of the game obviously, but there's a common pattern from these bosses, with having a super simple pattern and then having a moment where you can attack them in different ways. The next world you enter is a city-themed world. Instead of jumping innocent animals, you get to assault literal construction workers who are quite literally doing their job. Good job, Donald. Really doing well to become a true member of society. Not only do you get to cause terror in the city, but you also get to go to the construction place to ruin the poor construction workers' jobs. America, am I right? Then again, what do I expect from the guy who worked for Hitler? But maybe he wasn't destroying the place, because the boss of this level are the burglars from the Donald Duck comics, as well as from the DuckTales cartoons. This time they are using a goddamn wrecking balls to kill him. How do you go from a giant-ass chicken stomping on you, to wrecking ball? But better question, where the fuck is neighbor J. Jones in it? You know, Donald's iconic neighbor. Why couldn't they added him as the boss of this level instead of these fuckers? They are even in the fucking box art, for God's sakes. I really can't believe the people at Disney Interactive and Pispisoft didn't include the best Disney character next to not Chuck, the robot from Toy Story, and Shnikums and Meat. Honestly, why even bother? Probably nobody is gonna get this reference. Next world is a spooky mansion. Oh, how scary. You even get to fight bats, pumpkins and Frankenduck. Okay, I should have made this a Halloween-themed episode for how spooky this level is, but I don't want to wait another decade for a new video to be made. I had to light up the TV just to scroll the level a bit better, but it's really that dark. It was more of a me playing it in a dark room with a lamplight right next to it. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward level like the other levels. The boss of this level is the witch bitch, also from the Donald Duck comic and DuckTales. I wonder if this game was made somewhere in Europe. Because outside of Van being in the DuckTales, a lot of these characters really only appeared in the Donald Duck comics. which were mostly popular in European territories, especially in Finland, where they banned him because he had no pants.
Donald Duck comics were banned in Finland because he does not.
I mean, even I had these comics when I was a little shit. Another easy boss with an easy pattern. And finally, we are at the last world. Wait, what? We are in the last world already? Yeah, apparently this game has 4 worlds with 5 levels each, with one of them in each other being the boss level. This is incredibly short for a PS2 game. But then again, I didn't want this game to last longer than your average Persona game. This level is harder than the last ones, but it's not saying much considering that this is a Donald Duck game we are talking about. In this level's enemies we have small Donald Duck clones, and Pirate Crispy's evil spirit.
It's just my evil spirit.
And at last, we finally get to fight the final boss, the wizard fucker, Murloc.
Donald! Daisy!
Donald!
Murloc!
Daisy!
Gladstone!
Daisy!
Gladstone!
Murloc!
Oh boy, I sure hope that at least we get the challenging final boss in this final level. It's another extremely easy pattern. You know, maybe at least Gladstone could have been the final twist boss at the end, but he'd be the easiest boss in the game if that was the case. After defeating the Murloc, you get to see the final cutscene, where everybody returns home. But not before Brimstone comes home injured only until getting covered in popcorn made out of poop, 100% manufactured in India. Oh, and Donald gets a kiss from Daisy in the end. And so that was Donald Duck Quack Attack, a game heavily inspired by Crash Bandicoot, and despite being extremely simple and really short, it was somehow better than when Crash tried on the PS2. This game is not the greatest, but it's not really that bad for a licensed cartoon game. While having a few problems, this game is still quite a charming experience that captures the old Donald Duck cartoons, even down to the littlest of things. The graphics are also pretty decent for a licensed game, although in some aspects really looking like it was made in the early life of the PS2 era. But overall, I'd say I didn't have a bad time playing this game. It was quite a fun little experience, if I must say. It's not really a game you should go out to play, but if you have nothing else to do, I guess downloading a ROM of this game and booting up will kill a few minutes and entertain you for a bit. So overall, Donald Duck Quack Attacker gets a solid 6 out of 10. Check it out if you haven't. Although I am still sad that neighbor J. Jones isn't somewhere in this game. That would automatically make it a 10 out of 10 experience. Wait, he was in the Game Boy Color version? I don't know if this is true, but if it is, then it's automatically the best version of the game. Fuck you all.
Fearless pilot, Launchpad McQuack, who's always ready to take to the sky.